a racist, a bigot, a xenophobic, and Islamophobic.
Whoever runs a campaign on taking parasites like this and kicking them out of our fucking country.
Parasites like this? Bro, that's a congresswoman. You're famous for living with roaches. Like, that is an American congresswoman, man. The fuck? Yeah, I wonder who's more parasitic of a force. Spain, Netherlands, and Ireland to boycott Eurovision amid Israel participation. I'm going to try to order food real quick, because if I don't, I'm gonna fucking die. My brain is actually shutting off. Fuck the peelers. All right, here.
Breaking news tonight, Israel will be allowed to participate in next year's Eurovision Song Contest, but already a number of countries are indicating that they will pull out as a result of that decision. Let's bring in our arts and entertainment correspondent, Katie Spencer. And Katie, is this all threatening to descend into chaos?
It is an absolute mess, to be honest, but it is a mess that's been brewing for many months now. From what I understand tonight, Slovenia, the Netherlands, Spain, Ireland, and maybe Iceland all will not be taking part in the next song contest. These are countries that have spoken about in the months running up to this, the fact that they don't want to take part within the contest if Israel is going to be there. And actually the EBU, the European Broadcast Union, had said that it was going to, in September, have announced these plans to have an emergency vote on whether or not Israel should be allowed to take part because of how it has fought its war in Gaza. That vote was called off when a ceasefire was announced. Instead, the countries today at this biannual meeting that's taken place, that's closed to the public, they were instead asked to vote on rule changes that the EBU has announced, which almost seemed a bit sort of a piecemeal effort to try and appease those who have taken issue with Israel still being allowed to participate. And that in itself, the rule changes have come about because Israel has been accused of unfair voting practices, of government funding, of advertising campaigns, which a lot of people, there was a huge backlash when Israel ended up coming in second to the contest because there have been some claims that Israel was funded through government agencies and a big advertising campaign on that front. But members today were voting on that rather than whether or not Israel should be allowed to take part. And if you look at the official EBU statement that's been put out tonight, you wouldn't really get a sense of just how fraught this conversation has been. They put out this statement saying, members of the European Broadcast Union meeting today at the General Assembly in Geneva have backed a set of targeted changes to the Eurovision Song Contest rules designed to reinforce trust, transparency and the neutrality of the event. This vote means that all EBU members who wish to participate in the song contest and agree to comply with the new rules are eligible to take part. So basically this means that Israel can take part. But from what we understand, 11 of the countries there voted against this. And we are now seeing this stream of come through of countries who are saying they will boycott. Ireland have put out a statement tonight saying that they will not broadcast the competition. RTE will not broadcast the competition. RTE feels that Ireland's participation remains unconscionable given the appalling loss of lives in Gaza. From Slovenia, I've had a contact that's messaged me tonight saying the recent rule changes do not alter our view. As a public service broadcaster, RTV Slovenia is committed to upholding ethical principles and they will not be taking part. The Netherlands have put out a statement now saying what unfolded over the past year, including the infringement of universal values such as humanity, press freedom, but also the political interference that occurred during the previous edition of the Song Contest, crossed a boundary, they say, for the Netherlands. And Spain is really important because Spain is one of the big financial backers of the Eurovision Song Contest. They've said they won't be taking part. And following the vote today, they have just decided they will withdraw from Eurovision if Israel is part of it.
Sorry, I was looking all around the room and I found some fucking cookies. And I also ordered room service. Sorry, I was gone, but I was able to do it. Seems like Kash Patel did another crime. I know that they're talking about the 2021 DC pipe bomber, but it almost feels like, judging by his vibes alone, it feels like he did it. Since when did this admin hate January 6 people? No, they're in a permanent state of saying January 6 is both good and bad. Remember? It's both good and bad. Get with the program. It's both Antifa, but they also are patriots that must be pardoned. You don't understand.
We'll always refute it and combat it. We will provide the safest country the nation has ever seen under President Trump's leadership here. And that's what we did here today with great resolve on a case of massive public importance, as it should be. An individual who is now alleged to have placed multiple explosive devices to blow up multiple people and multiple officials, innocent civilians, is now arrested thanks to the brave men and women of the FBI and the interagency. I want to take a moment to thank the Metropolitan Police Department, the United States Capitol Police, our brave prosecutors, the Department of Justice, and our leader, Attorney General Pam Bondi, and U.S. Attorney Janine Pirro, whose relentless work on this case made this possible. As the Attorney General said, we did not discover any new information. What we did, an investigation spearheaded by the Deputy Director and the ADIC of our Washington field office, brought in a new team of investigators and experts, re-examined every piece of evidence, sifted through all the data, something that the prior administration refused and failed to do. As a result of that, we generated numerous investigative leads, executed multiple legal process with our U.S. attorney partners, and came to this conclusion today. And that is why we were able to safely secure this individual into custody. Remember, we are dealing with an individual who is alleged to have made bombs. We cannot do this sort of takedown in haste because it endangers the lives of law enforcement. And this FBI will never allow the lives of law enforcement and our prosecutors to...
Yeah, if you're trying to invoke an image of confidence and competence, Kash Patel is the worst fucking guy to do that with. Oh, yeah, dude, we were working tirelessly. We were working tirelessly to figure out who did this. I'm like, no, you weren't. I just don't believe you. I mean, I just don't believe that this administration in general, but I especially don't believe you, Kash Patel.
To be put in jeopardy. This execution was flawless in terms of teamwork, resilience, and just a good old-fashioned way of police getting the job done. And I'm honored now to introduce to you Deputy Director Bongino, who spearheaded this investigation.
Oh my God, Dan Bongino's alive. Turns out it's actually Dan Bongino who did it. That's why they brought him up to the stage. That's why he wasn't around. I thought Dan Bongino was dead. What a spectacular development, dude. I haven't seen our boy in a minute, you know? I was getting sad. Our returning character.
Thank you all for being here for this critical investigation we've been working on for a very long time. We deeply appreciate it. Thank you for the kind words, Attorney General and Director. I appreciate it. Folks, this is what it's like when you work for a president who tells you to go get the bad guys and stop.
You guys haven't done enough to say stuff like this and make it sound like it's a positive. When you say shit like that and you're Dan fucking Bongino with the current FBI, the current state of affairs of the FBI, that kind of looks like a L for Trump. If anything, you should be going up there and being like, the Democrats have actually been crippling our investigations. They've handicapped us so aggressively. That's why we suck dick and balls and ass.
Immigration crackdown has spread to 2 more major American cities. One of them is New Orleans, where federal sweeps included places like Home Depot and Lowe's, known to attract migrants trying to find day work, day labor. It comes as the president continues to criticize Somali Americans as well, living in Minneapolis. And
No. This isn't, we can't be doing this. Okay, I'm sorry. We can't be saying he's criticizing Somali Americans. No. Criticizing Somali Americans would be like, oh, have you seen Somali Twitter? They get real crazy. That's a criticism of Somali Americans, right? Saying every Somali living on U.S. soil is a garbage person that needs to be forcibly removed from the American boundaries immediately. They're all fraudsters. They're all fucking criminals. They're all garbage over and over again. That's not criticizing Somali Americans. That's just, you're a fucking racist. You're a white supremacist piece of shit. I don't like when people do this stuff in mainstream media where they have to like sane wash Donald Trump, because otherwise, if you recognize that the system is collapsing by being truthful about Donald Trump's behavior, then all of a sudden it's like, it's almost a recognition that things are really bad. After all, we got the fucking president saying incredibly racist things about a group of Americans of Somali background that are around 300,000 people living in U.S. soil. It's messed up. Say the fucking truth.
St. Paul, and agents are cracking down in that community as well. We've got correspondents in both cities, and we'll start with Katie Weiss in New Orleans.
Federal agents fanned out across the New Orleans metropolitan area Wednesday. Social media showed them arresting people in a Home Depot parking lot and outside a gas station next to a Lowe's home improvement store. Multiple people captured the moment they targeted workers on the roof of what appeared to be a residential home. After several law enforcement vehicles stopped in front of that house, the men on the roof can be seen quickly pulling up their ladder as armed agents surrounded the property. During our coverage of the operation Wednesday, we ran into Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bovino.
How many people did you detain today?
Still counting. A lot and still counting.
He has become one of the faces of the Trump administration's nationwide immigration crackdown after similar controversial large-scale arrests in other cities, including Los Angeles, Chicago, and Charlotte.
We've got several hundred agents spread across the New Orleans area, so not just us, so we've got a lot.
Protesters have shouted their opposition in the city over the past several days. As community members say, some immigrants have been too afraid to leave their house this week for work or even grocery shopping.
People are just really scared. Regardless of what their immigration status is, they're worried about people being arrested. I've gotten calls from teachers who are worried because their students don't want to show up to school.
And the city of New Orleans has responded to this operation by setting up an online portal where residents can submit their complaints of potential abuse by federal immigration officers.
Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar.
Oh my God, Jake Tapper had Ilhan Omar. That's how you know. Yo. That's how you fucking know shit is bad. Okay, Trump has officially reached a new level of racism. Dude, Jake Tapper hates Ilhan Omar. Okay? Jake Tapper has only been at odds with Ilhan Omar. Jake Tapper is the type of motherfucker who would just straight up also say the same things that Trump is saying about Ilhan Omar, just, you know, has the wherewithal to say it behind closed doors. Trump is hitting the maximum racism button so hard that even Jake Tapper is like, yeah, all right, well, I will reluctantly interview Congresswoman Ilhan Omar now. I don't think Jake Tapper likes you either. Yes, he does not. I saw a clip of Asmongold on Twitter going on an insane racist tirade against Ilhan to the level of bigotry you'd expect from Fuentes, and it's funny how 4 years ago it had resulted in an indefinite ban on Twitch. Yeah, it's over. That's not a thing anymore. These guys also still consistently complain about how I need to be banned from fucking Twitch, and how the very fact that I'm not banned every day from Twitch is a clear-cut indication that the platform is experiencing favoritism. The irony, of course, is that the platform is experiencing favoritism for Asmongold. Like, straight up. The idea that the Twitch platform actually gives me favoritism is ridiculous. I mean, look, this is Asmongold's statements on Ilhan Omar.
He's always been.
Do you know why Twitch's rules have gotten so lax? Yeah, the existence of Kick is part of it, and how right-wing everything has become on the internet is another part of it.
A racist, a bigot, a xenophobic, and Islamophobic.
Whoever runs a campaign on taking parasites like this and kicking them out of our fucking country.
Parasites like this? Bro, that's a congresswoman. You're famous for living with roaches. Like, that is an American congresswoman, man. The fuck? Yeah, I wonder who's more parasitic of a force. Ugh.
Country, I will vote for them. I am so sick of these clowns that come here from foreign fucking countries, advocate for their...
Still not as bad as 2014, but is bad now. It's weird. Twitch is still probably the best moderated platform out of all the big ones. It's just loosening since the outreach cycle has become so normal. It generates traffic. I don't think it's necessarily traffic. I think they just like got bullied into oblivion and they basically have caved to the far right and just right-wingers in general. I think that the consistent outrage peddling of the last 4 years has basically created an environment where Twitch genuinely is capitulating to the right on all this stuff. I think that's what it is. It's also partially because the media landscape is shifting to the right as well. Those who don't know, when I joined Twitch, it was literally just a place where 4chan went to watch their handiwork live in action. Okay, so not much has changed in that regard, I guess. Brother is just one fucking streamer, dude. 50% of his audience is bots, and the other half is children, unemployed motherfuckers with no money to capture through advertising. What the fuck do you mean Twitch can't ban him? It would not change traffic on the site in any way, shape, or form. Wait, no, it's not just Asmongold, dummy. Twitch is responding to the fucking right-wing, the unlimited amount of right-wing outrage campaigns. First of all, it's just pure copium to say that Asmongold is just bots. He has a fucking incredibly large YouTube audience. And also he has virtually every single fucking slop tuber as well. Now, you and I do not give a fuck about this shit. And many adults don't give a fuck about this shit. But these guys spend every waking moment online. And as people who spend every waking moment online, they actually do have a lot of outsized impact with their harassment campaigns. And they have a tendency to get brands to be afraid. They have a tendency to get brands to engage with them in a meaningful way, in a way that actually does hurt the platform's bottom line. They do Gamergate like on a weekly fucking basis. And last but not least, this administration is incredibly right-wing and is very invested in changing the culture, whether it be online or everywhere. And major corporations are terrified of that kind of smoke and scrutiny. The other thing is, yeah, these guys get fucking devs fired like all the time. Uh-oh, balding fatty needs more food. Brother, please look at the camera. Look. No, don't ban that guy. Come on, come on, come on. You have eyes, man. You have eyes. Use them. We'll see.
Islamophobic, racist rhetoric when he is trying to scapegoat and deflect from the actual failures that he has himself. We know that this administration has not fulfilled the majority of the promises that they've made, whether it is bringing costs down, whether it is the tariffs that are decimating businesses in the United States, whether it is the possible war crimes that his defense secretary is committing. And so to me, it is important for us, one, to remind folks that we are Americans. We're not going anywhere, and we will continue to be in this country. And two, that Minnesotans are resilient, and we will continue to thrive.
What is the practical impact when a president of the United States demonizes an entire group of people based on ethnicity? And again, you can point to any ethnic group and find dozens of people in that ethnic group who are committing a particular crime. The mafia comes to mind, right? But no one, you don't hear people saying that about Italians. They did 100 years ago, but they don't do it today. What is the practical effect on the Somali community when the president says things like that?
I mean, it creates fear. And there is a possible danger that a lot of the people who follow the president have exhibited violence in many cases, especially in my case, whenever he has said something about me that is derogatory or says I'm a threat to the country. I have gotten death threats. There are so many people that have been incarcerated over the years that have been encouraged by the president's words. And so there is fear for Somalis, not just in Minnesota, but across the country, that some of these people might attack and harm them.
Brother, this motherfucker was running for president. And he said, Haitians are eating cats and dogs. What the fuck do you mean Italians? That was 9 months ago. Not 9 months ago at this point, a year ago. Like, I get that you're trying to do an analogy here.
After the immigration crackdown in Minnesota.
But that's crazy.
CNN asked the Department of Homeland Security spokesperson Tricia McLaughlin about the remarks from the president. Here's what she had to say.
This is not about politics. This is about public safety. We saw what just happened last week with the terrorist attack against us here in our nation's capital, where one of our great heroes, Sarah Beckstrom, was killed. That's what the precipice of this was.
What's your response to that?
Well, it's certainly not. We know that Somalis, over 90% of them are citizens of this country. Majority of them having born in the United States, and we know that if you are a criminal, you already have deportation orders, and there is an easy way for them to do that instead of creating this sort of fear where they are having raids. And today we saw them.
Yeah, like what are they gonna do? Like what are they gonna do? They're you can't, at least for the time being, you can't really deport American citizens of Somali descent. They want to scare people into leaving, in my opinion. No, but the Somalis are not going to leave. Why would they? They're American citizens. Where are they going? Like, what are we talking about? They're American, man. It's like when motherfuckers tell me, like, oh, yeah, go back to your country, bitch. It's like, well, I'm in it, you know? Well, not right now because I'm in Ireland currently, but you get the point.
Citizens, and people were proving their citizenship by showing their passports.
Burger
so
verdict,
we know it has really
5 out of 10.
Really nothing to do about keeping a community safe. It's actually terrorizing a community and creating fear.
On Capitol Hill, Admiral Frank Mitch Bradley will be in the hot seat as furor over the administration's boat strikes in the Caribbean intensify.
I frankly think it's absolutely illegal.
I want to hear the truth. 1 strike, 2 strikes, 3 strikes? How many people in the water?
And this morning, new details about that September 2nd operation that has some accusing the administration of war crimes. The suspected drug boat is seen here being hit by a U.S. airstrike. Shortly afterward, sources say 2 survivors were seen climbing back onto the boat. It's against the laws of war to strike shipwrecked survivors.
And this is not a complex legal theory. This is not a gray area. The manual addresses this exact situation with crystal clarity. Orders to fire upon the shipwrecked are clearly illegal.
But the sources say they were potentially in communication with others in the area and attempting to salvage some of the drugs that had been in the boat's cargo. Because other vessels were in the area, sources say, they were determined to be, quote, still in the fight and considered a valid target. ABC's Selena Wang asked President Trump if he will release video of the second strike.
I don't know what they have, but whatever they have, we'd certainly release, no problem.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, who oversees the operations, says he personally didn't see any survivors or the second strike, but calls the decision to strike twice Admiral Bradley's call.
He sunk the boat, and eliminated the threat. And it was the right call. We have his back.
But this morning, Hegseth is facing backlash.
I don't like the Secretary of Defense blaming on a military commander. These commands came from him, and I think the buck stops with him.
And now lawmakers will have more questions for Hegseth after a new Pentagon watchdog report concluded he risked endangering U.S. troops when he relayed sensitive information about military strikes in Yemen over the commercial messaging app Signal back in March. Sources tell ABC News the Defense Department's Inspector General says Hegseth shared information classified by U.S. Central Command on the app with...
Every time this administration does something and they get caught with their pants down, pissing against the wind, they change the story 55 times in one media cycle. Oh, it wasn't a double strike. Oh, okay, if it was a double strike, then... you know, it was good, actually. It was the best double strike of all time. Okay, actually, we take it back. It wasn't a double strike at all. There was no footage. Oh, there was footage of the double strike? Okay, well, I wasn't there. Fuck.
And even his wife. On one of the Signal chats, a reporter was mistakenly added to a chain with some of the most powerful people in government. Hegseth, facing pressure, said at the time he knew exactly what he was doing.
Nobody's texting more plans. I know exactly what I'm doing, exactly what we're directing.
Sources say Hegseth refused to sit down for an interview as part of the investigation, instead telling the IG in a statement that he has the power to classify and declassify information and that the chat on Signal would not put troops at risk if exposed, an assertion the IG rejects.
Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy and Homeland Security, Stephen Miller. All right, Miller, have you ever heard of a controversy like this in your life?
No, this is the first time I can ever think.
Dems protect Coke boats, not you. It's awesome. Fox News is getting dumber by the second, dude. They don't even use full sentences anymore.
Where a major political party has sided with narco trafficking, murdering, terrorist scum. You know, you play one of those clips from a Democrat who said, oh, there's no such thing as a narco-terrorist. They're just narco-persons. The ISIS and these narco-terrorists in our hemisphere use the same tactics. They use rape as a weapon. They skin people alive. They cut off their heads.
What are you talking? Bro, what is this guy saying, dude? First of all, he starts out with a shitty joke. Oh, they're saying these are not narco-terrorists, these are narco-persons. Like, you start, guy in the fucking administration does a shitty, like, misgender meme. Then he moves on to talk about how, like, what, the Venezuelan military is skinning and beheading people? What the fuck are we doing?
They burn them to death. These narco-terrorists, if a politician opposes them, they kidnap their family. If they don't give them what they want, they murder their family. You can go to the Border Patrol here in the United States and you can say, draw me a map of the border, and on the Mexican side, tell me which cartel controls every inch of territory. And the border agents can literally say, mile by mile, which cartel controls which section of the border. Not the Mexican government, they don't control it, which cartel. When President Trump declared these organizations foreign terrorist organizations, that wasn't just a talking point. That wasn't just a buzzword. It was a promise from this president to use hard American power to kill and to stop these terrorists, these enemies of the United States, from killing our families, from killing our children, from taking over our communities. And that's what President Trump is doing.
And we have some breaking news from ABC. Listen to what they just reported about an hour ago. Roll it.
And tonight, new information. According to a source familiar with the incident, the two survivors climbed back onto the boat after the initial strike. They were believed to be potentially in communication with others and salvaging some of the drugs. Because of that, it was determined they were still in the fight and valid targets. A JAG officer was also giving legal advice.
This backs up the entire second strike.
Yes, I mean, it just doesn't get more crystal clear than that. The mission is take out the boat, stop the drugs, keep this vessel and its cargo from reaching our shore using lethal means. And our amazing military, the heroes of the United States Armed Forces, did exactly that. President Trump, Secretary Hegseth, and this entire government are committed to finally using our military to defend our people, our borders, our family, our culture, our history, our heritage, to defend the United States. We're not going off running around the Middle East trying to build democracies in caves and deserts and in distant sands that have never known.
I can't even get mad at him. He's just such a fucking cringe-ass loser. Like, I know the words that are coming out of his mouth are super racist, chat. I understand it, you know? But he's just such a fucking whiny, bald loser. He just, it doesn't hit. It doesn't hit as hard. The real impact is obviously realizing ad hominem. Ad hominem? What the fuck kind of mental deficiency do you have? He didn't even make an argument, you fucking dingus. What do you mean ad hominem? He basically said send N-word over and over again. How is that an argument that you need to present a counter narrative to? Where are these fucking morons coming from today, dude? What is happening right now? Ad hominem. In order for this to be debate club, he actually has to make a reasonable position, or any position whatsoever. He's just chirping nonstop. I'm so sorry that I didn't present a counter narrative to Mr. These guys are actually beheading people ISIS style, and they need to be dead. They need to be murdered. Like, everything he's saying is just fucking wrong. And on top of that, he's being super racist.
For 4 years, Biden let these monsters cross the border freely. They're operating now in all 50 states. They are controlling the flow of drugs, weapons, gangs.
It's just not, like, he's not a very charismatic guy. Yeah, he's a monster, for sure, 100%. But he's also incredibly fucking whiny. He's like, like, he just comes across like he's crying all the time because someone fucked his wife. I don't know. I cannot read what he is ranting about as anything but someone fucked. A migrant fucked my wife, and she actually came for the first time in her life. And now I'm going to make it everybody else's problem. I mean, low-key, it is a migrant that fucked his wife. Actually, it was Elon Musk, but that's besides the point. And I highly doubt that he gave her an orgasm, but that did happen. I don't think it's that crazy to assume that she has 100,000 people watching right now. I think you need to understand how many people actually love Candace Owens.
Flew using the name Waleed Mahmoud. Okay, here is where it's going to get interesting, and I don't know if we can show that name, Chris, if we have that, but we can spell that out for them. I don't know if we have a graphic for that, but here's where it gets interesting. Okay, Waleed Mahmoud had been in Provo before. Okay, specifically, Waleed Mahmoud came to Provo on May 27th of this year. Waleed Mahmoud came in. And we can also confirm that if you look up the plane that he was on, there is no transponder data which reflects that trip. He was not on the yellow plane. This is what's very interesting.
What the fuck?
Another Egyptian military plane.
What the fuck is she talking about, bro? What, the Egyptian government assassinated Charlie Kirk now? We got HasanAbi Condensed and Candace Owens before GTA 6. Under no circumstances did I ever fucking glaze Candace Owens. I'm just telling you what is factually accurate. Okay? I didn't say she's smart or good at her job. I actually think it's an incredibly, incredibly bad sign that she is one of the largest political content creators. That is immensely impactful.
Record of this on flight radar. Now, why is this compelling? Why is this especially compelling? Because the purple plane, SUBTU, as has been recently discovered by the work of other people, was once upon a time flown with the president of Egypt aboard. And by once upon a time, I mean back in 2023. This tweet came from Project Constitution. I'm going to read it in its entirety, okay? Confirmed. Candace Owens just got vindicated again. The Egyptian government website confirms that Egyptian President El-Sisi flew on...
Not Project Constitution.
They just cannot answer a single question that we have, and they can't explain why they keep...
Is she actually a crazy or a grifter? I think she's both, which makes her a better grifter. I think her genuine craziness makes her a better grifter. Girl, you are the only person who still gives a shit about Charlie. Yeah, no, I like that every day she adds a new nation to who killed Charlie Kirk. At the end of the day, it's going to be the United Nations. Like, first it was the Jews. Then it was the French, and now it's the Egyptians. It's awesome. Literally every fucking day, there is a new country, a new nation that is organized and has deeply penetrated American society. I know this guy IRL who loves Trump but hates Dems for a connection to Israel and France because Candace. How do I reason with that? Oh, dude, if you're in the presence of a fucking ball knower, dude. What do you mean? Wait, what the fuck? What is happening here? She has like full blown ads on our broadcast. What are these cows?
% of the entire Angus population as their breeding stock, which produces beef that has much more flavor and tender.
What the fuck?